So in this video, I want to talk about how to truly give everything to God. Acts 5 talks about this in the Bible and really many places in the Old and the New Testament. And all the Hypo-Christians in the Matrix, it's one of the first things they preach. They're like, oh yeah, trust God, trust God, trust God. But then how come no one does it in a way that's irrevocable? So when you look at the Bible and the way it's worded, clearly there are clues in these stories that are ancient for how one should act in the present day. And part of the wording is that it's, these are interesting words because trust in particular, because it's a verb, it's actually, to be able to trust someone and it's a feeling. And it's also an actual noun, it's a document that can be created. And so why would you assume that it would just be one definition and not the other, not both? And that's the interesting thing when it comes to the Bible and when it comes to this idea of truly trusting God. We have to take the steps in this life consciously to show God and show our brothers and sisters around us that we are trusting Him irrevocably. And that's what this process that we do is about. That irrevocable trust then allows you to actually, use it to not just better your life, but also to then deepen your level of service to God. Because instead of giving away stupid taxes to the devil so they can blow up some people somewhere, or perform weird surgeries on little kids, or just a whole list of other stupid bullshit that they do, or you could consciously take that money back into your own hands and use it to affect people and individuals and entities around you that you can tangibly see that difference, and you can tangibly have that effect of the grace of God working through you. And that's not going to happen if you're just bogged down the system and trying to fill out all these little forms and play their game. But when you're in the domain, in the jurisdiction of Jesus Christ, now all of a sudden you're freed up. You don't have to think about those things. And so that is why we give our assets to God, not just our feelings, not just what's in our mind, not just an implied trust where we like to talk like these preachers and Hypo-Christians that I see everywhere. They just talk. But where's your proof in your actions? Because that's what actually defines your karma. And so the proof in our actions is where we take that stuff up to move from, this revocable trust that we're given at birth with the devil, and to upgrade that status, so to speak, where we have an irrevocable trust with Christ, with God. And then we actually use that trust. It's not just about signing a document. That's the other sort of mistake people make with this. They think, oh yeah, I just need a template, I need to sign it, and I'm good. No. There's actions that need to be taken in a consistent basis, to follow the common law. I mean, that's the baseline of the entire document. But more than that, part of the removal of our own ego in this life, achieving so-called enlightenment, as the Buddha talked about, how do we do that? How do we slowly chip away at our ego like the cancer that it is? It's by removing our attachments to the illusion, and part of how we do that is we give over those attachments to God, one by one at a time. And it starts with our physical assets. Once you actually sign a trust like this, you're going to move your money, you're going to move revenue streams and income, and change the paradigm from receiving income to receiving donations. And then you're going to work on other hard assets, cars, houses, properties of any kind. You're going to do intangibles, gold, silver, jewelry, whatever, anything that a person or a company could own, you're going to give it all to God. That's how you truly show, and that's how you truly prove with your actions. You'll still be a trustee of those assets. So, God doesn't want us to just donate it all to Ukraine or to the Red Cross, where they just squander it while we live, in poverty and do nothing. No. It's about using our resources, at the highest and best possible way. And when directed through a trust like this, that's, part of what that opens up for us. And the last part is not just physical assets that you can tangibly see, and even intellectual assets in your mind. It's really like giving over to God this idea of, our legacy and our destiny and what we want to do in this life. And the things that we feel, a lot of the times when the path becomes unclear, it's extremely stressful, and we kind of get back into our own egos, and we think it's all on us to figure out what the next step to do is. But, human beings by themselves are really, we're nothing without God. I mean, even our thoughts, are they really ours in the first place? Or are we given them? Is there a pattern and a frequency that pushes us to think the way that we do? So, for those of you who want to go down this path and truly start systematically giving away all your stuff to God, that includes just everything. If that feels like a path for you, then feel free to join the community. And I will say, this is not the path for everyone. Most people are really very much in their ego, and they want to build up that ego in this life. That's the path that they're on. They want to become millionaires and billionaires and show how big their dick is and swing it around in circles. That's the path for a lot of people in this world. But for those who want to truly show service and, bow at the feet of Christ and God, and just be in awe of the power, of Source to just create this world around us and make it function the way that it does, then, we talk about all that and more in the community. Not just the pragmatic, step-by-step, tangible side to it, but also the more spiritual and esoteric side. So I look forward to seeing many of you in there, and for the rest of you, good luck building up those egos. And, and for those of you who want to chip away at them and become egoless, and hopefully maybe enlightened at some point, then I look forward to seeing you on the path.